You're listening to Packers Talk Network. PackersTalk.com.
Welcome to the Packers Weekly Podcast, part of PackersTalk.com network. I'm your host, Miles Teddick, joined by your co-host, Tim Emily. We are a couple diehard Packers fans, just love talking about the Pack. We are not getting into all the national sports media distractions and nonsense. We are talking and diving into the top topics around the Pack every week, breaking down all the games during the season, sorting through all the drama and the rumors and draft stuff of the offseason. If y'all want to support the podcast, please spike that like button for us. But most importantly, jump on over to the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel. We got that YouTube channel. We just need a click of the button from you. So hit that subscribe button for us. It is very, very helpful. And, if we just want to talk Pack with you. We're not asking for any of that. We're not asking for money. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, just to be clear. I don't know if maybe there's confusion about that. So jump on over there, give us a little click. We would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting close. So you could be part of that. Tonight, oh boy, we got some frustrations to air out, and that Eagles game. Oh boy, there's just a lot. There's a lot to pick apart. Obviously, we cannot let the bad overshadow the good entirely. The defense played very, very well, but the offense is just not holding up their end of the deal. So we're gonna hit that, and then we might need to brace ourselves for another play down game as we go to New York and play a team that will be coached by an interim head coach, which is a classic setup for the Packers to play down to. But first, of course, we have business to take care of. So let's get this out of the way. We are once again sponsored by Wisconsin's own Ticket King. For over 30 years, Ticket King has been providing Packers tickets to Packers fans, as well as Bucks tickets, Brewers tickets. Summerfest, when that comes back around, it's a ways away, but you might get ahead of it. All those tickets, you can find them on the web at theticketking.com or visit their locations in Green Bay and Milwaukee. Remember to support all of those local businesses, Wisconsin and otherwise. Tim, good evening, sir, man. Give it to me. I know I'm not even going to ask how you're doing. I'm not even asking how you're doing. I know you're not happy. I'm not. None of us are happy. We're not happy right now. But I think you're maybe considered to be a more level-headed individual than I am. And
I am.
I don't know. I kind of feel that way.
Thanks. Yes.
Have you processed this, man? Are you still dealing with some of the raw emotions? Who are we mad at? We letting it out? What are we doing here, man?
I mean, yeah, I've processed. Unfortunately, I had to process it. I mean, it's an ugly thing to process. The offense was just dysfunctional, incompetent, every other bad adjective you can use to describe it. So, yeah, I mean, at this stage, 24 hours later, I've processed it. I don't even know what the hell it was that I just saw. I guess I'm not as mad as I was watching the game now coming off of it. I'm more at like the stage of like, holy crap, there's so many problems. I don't even know where they begin to fix them. And the crazy thing is, I'm not sure they recognize all the problems. And I have no confidence that they even know how to fix these problems at this point. And it's not just one person. I know everybody wants to blame LaFleur, and he deserves a ton of it. Don't get me wrong. People want him fired, which I think at this point is way too premature. I think it's ridiculous. You got to let it play out and see how it goes. He certainly deserves a ton of blame, but it's not just him. Coaches, players. I got problems with some of the personnel that are on this roster. I think the front office deserves some blame. Everyone deserves some blame offensively for what happened against the Eagles, what's been happening the last 2 weeks, and really for most of this season offensively. I feel really bad for the defense. That was a great performance that they had last night. Certainly should have won the game. It's crazy that they've lost 3 games, and the most points they've given up in those 3 losses is 16. They shouldn't have lost any of those games. Certainly shouldn't have lost to the Eagles. It felt like when the Eagles went up 3-0, I really didn't know if the Packers could overcome a 3-0 deficit. That is just unbelievable. Certainly when it was 10-0, that I had no confidence that they were coming back from that. And that, I mean, to lose a game where you gave up 10 points should never, ever happen. So everything's broken offensively. And they have a short week to start figuring it out. They haven't had any answers to any of the problems that have happened throughout the season. And I'm not really sure they're going to have any answers going forward, but they need to figure something out because it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. And now you're factoring in mounting injuries on the offensive side of the ball too, which isn't going to help anything, obviously, as well. So, yeah, they got a long way to dig themselves out offensively. And I don't even know where they start right now or if they have the right people to figure it out. So that's kind of where I'm at, just processing the whole thing and realizing that what looks so good, after 2 weeks of the season with this team, man, how things can change so quickly in the NFL. And you don't really know anything about a team that early in the year. And, it's still middle of November. They can turn it around. And
certainly we've seen it happen this time of year.
You're right. It can be a lot different a month from now, 2 months from now. But it's really hard to find a way out of this where they're going to be a consistently productive offense down the stretch of the season. Like, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see any answers that are even starting to look like they're taking place. Like they just got to get there. Like I don't see answers. I just see they keep digging themselves a bigger hole. They just keep having more problems come to the surface. So it looks bad right now. But they, it's gut check time. You got to figure things out because you got to start winning games. You got to start playing better offensively, or else this thing really snowball and people are going to lose their jobs.
Well, and that's the part that I'm getting to the point. It's like, do you want to lose your job? Like, what is happening here? And LaFleur even knows. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up to the next press conference where he's got to, you play down to the Giants and you couldn't get enough going to score against them late to win the game that you should have won. He needs to come to the press conference with a shirt on, Bart Simpson, the meme that says, "Say the line, Bart." Because he knows he's got to go up there and say the line. I mean, he's already basically admitting it. It's like, if I had the answers, guys, I wouldn't be answering the question. It's like, well, why are we still asking the same question, Coach? The thing that gets me, man, is usually like 99% of these conversations that we have as fans, right? You can kind of default to, look, we're not in the building. We don't know. And in this case, there's just too much where it's like, I don't have to be in the building. Why the hell is a cornerback on the field on 4th down when Christian Watson is not? Why the hell is that person on the field and he makes one mistake and drops a ball? Oh, okay. Well, let's put him in there again to make another mistake where it's because of alignment, because the guy has been practicing at cornerback instead of receiver. Like, what are we doing here, folks? Hang on. Let's leave him in there again to make a third mistake and drop another ball because, again, he's been playing cornerback instead of receiver. When I get it. Oh, you got some injuries. Christian Watson was fine last night. In fact, one of the catches he made was negated because the cornerback on the field didn't know where to line up. Who knew?
That would be one of my first questions to Matt LaFleur is how much is he practicing at wide receiver? Because since June, you've been playing him at cornerback, and he's a cornerback. And now, you get a couple injuries at receiver, he's playing receiver. And he's playing more snaps than Malik Heath. He's playing more snaps than your 3rd-round rookie receiver, who's only a gadget player, apparently.
And I'll hear it if you wanted to give him an opportunity. After the first drop, opportunity gone. Sorry, we got to get back to what works. Holy crap, man. This is
I don't.
levels that
Yeah.
that for me are comparable to Preston Smith playing cornerback against Justin Jefferson. Like this is ridiculous, man. I don't need to be in the building to know that that is just a massive stinking problem. Like all of the thought process that went behind Bo Melton being on the field at receiver last night, not just once, but as much as he was, all of it is flawed. All of it. I don't care if it was Stenovich. I don't care if it was the receivers coach. I don't care if it was LaFleur. I don't care who it was. It's flawed. You want to give the guy a shot? Great. He dropped the ball. Get him out. He's done. He's a cornerback. You're not down to nobody. To your point, you have Malik Heath. Why is a cornerback playing more receiver snaps than Malik Heath? Why didn't we move Malik Heath to safety or linebacker? Oh, it's because he was a better receiver option than the guy you moved to corner. The logic here is really starting to crumble, man. And this is the part where it's like, yeah, somebody's going to get fired. Because I think, you said something that I wanted to revisit. It is the person in the room that can fix it. And I don't know if it's in the room or the building. I do believe Ed Policy is a person who can fix this issue. I do believe he's sitting on the side going, there's a problem here. Now, I don't think his solution is let's go fire Matt LaFleur. I think certainly there's going to be a lead up to that. If that is what happens, I don't think it just happens out of the blue. I think that there's probably, it's one of those things. Like if it happens, everybody saw it coming. But I do think that Policy can put his arm around LaFleur, and I kind of said this last week. It's like, look, man, there's a lot of reasons we want to extend you, but this is a big old fat problem we got here. And if you, the head coach, doesn't fix the problem that you have, then we can't keep you. We can't do this. The window is small, but it is open, and we got to take advantage.
Yeah, I don't see an in-season move happening unless it gets really bad.
No.
Right? But this is a end of season, and if this continues, this level of poor play on offense, or just maybe they have a couple games where they look competent, or a couple halves is more like it, because we haven't even seen a complete game all season from the offense. That kind of continues down the stretch. I think it's an end of season thing where it goes, okay, Matt, tell me how you're going to fix your offense. And if it's kind of the same old thing, well, I'm going to do this, then I think it kind of comes down to Ed is like, are you comfortable with that? Because he might go in there saying, all right, I need a plan. And if LaFleur's plan's kind of like, hey, we're going to run it back, but we're just going to make some schematic changes, that might not be enough. Ed probably is going to want to hear, like, we're going to make some big staffing changes, and we're going to make some changes to the scheme that we're running. Maybe we're going to change play callers. That could be it. And I think that's one of the possibilities as far as how this season plays out. I think there's the worst case scenario, I think, is that this offensive performance continues and it gets bad enough they miss the playoffs. They just continue to completely underperform on offense. And at the end of the year, there's a head coaching change. I think another option is what you're kind of hinting at, is that maybe it doesn't get as bad as what we saw against the Eagles. Maybe they start getting a little better, but we're still seeing inconsistencies. And they either miss the playoffs or they sneak in, they lose the first game. And then there's that conversation with Policy, like, what are you going to do, Matt? And if it's okay, I'm going to shake up the coaching staff. I'm going to go get somebody from outside the building. Maybe he's going to give up. Then maybe there's a way for Matt to survive this and be back next year. And then the other scenario, which I think unfortunately is the most unlikely, is that they get answers to some of these problems and they start putting some competent, consistent offense together and they get into the playoffs. But I think that's the least likely of the options that are going to happen right now. So I think we're at least looking at the end of the season. There's going to be a major shakeup offensively.
Well, I think, if you miss the playoffs, there's definitely going to be some changes.
There has to be.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. This team, especially the way you started the season, when you demonstrate what you can do and then you don't do it, it's not, you're not going to go off and get mad at the players. Like, you've seen the players do it. Now, the players don't get off scot-free on this one, right? Like, there's definitely going to be some blame for this game in particular, but what we're seeing is still the result of what we've been frustrated about for a long time. And the luxury we have is that they've been winning in spite of it. And so you get frustrated how the offense operates, and then they win the game, and you go, all right, well, they won the game. So what are we mad about? Oh, well, they have a top 5 offense. What are we mad about? Well, and then you get the last few weeks. This is what we're mad about. Because we could see this coming. You could see these things coming, and there's talent definitely comes into play. And I think the thing that makes me think of that is Tucker Kraft. You lose a guy like Tucker Kraft, all of a sudden your other weaknesses are going to be more exposed. So if your play calling is struggling, but Tucker Kraft is bailing you out because Jordan Love knew how to get to him regardless of what was coming, great. You don't have that now. So back to square one, and it's kind of like when they lost Devontae Adams, when Devontae Adams left the offense, things were different, man. You didn't have that guy who was bailing you out when you didn't have the call. And now I think we're seeing that. We're finding out, like, all right, when don't they have a good call? Because nobody's bailing them out, and that's we don't get to know. And, we had a great little debate last week about Stinovich and some of the inner workings of the offense. And we ultimately don't get to know who's responsible for what. And most teams aren't ever going to give you that information. Fair enough. But at this point of things, you're kind of like, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is what you're getting is not good. The production, whatever the inputs are, the output is bad. And you need to change the inputs. Now, does that mean you wholesale change the inputs? No. Maybe you change one input and then all of a sudden that fixes the problem. But we can't answer that question. Only the people in the building can answer that question. So that's why I say Ed Policy knows. He knows who's calling plays. He knows who's influencing the game plan and to what extent. I have a hard time after we've seen Matt LaFleur do some brilliant things as an offensive play caller and schematically. I have a hard time believing that's the same guy that decided to play Bo Melton at corner or at receiver after moving him to corner in this game the way that they did. That seems like somebody else made that decision. That doesn't seem like the same guy made that decision.
It might seem like it, but there's no way he gets on that field if Matt LaFleur doesn't want him on that field.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Totally fair point.
Coach. He knows he's out there. He gets him on that. He wouldn't be out there if the head coach didn't want him. That's
totally fair. And that's where I think it comes back to, hey, LaFleur, look, man, I don't know. I'm not going to ask you to even admit what the problem is, but there's a problem. You and I both know there's a problem. And if you're not going to fix it, I don't know if we can do this extension.
So, yeah, I think the problem, so LaFleur's a big part of the problem. And his decision-making, his game planning, his in-game play calling and game management. But I think it all kind of ties back to the poor play of the offensive line. I think it starts there because their offensive line hasn't played well all year, especially run blocking, but at times very leaky in pass protection. And they're seeing these defenses, especially the last 2 weeks, the Panthers and Eagles, that sit back there with two safeties. They're daring you to run. LaFleur wants to run. He wants to start with the running game like they did last year, pound Jacobs. Great. But they can't run on anyone consistently. They haven't had a running game all season. Couple spurts here against some bad defenses like the Bengals and the Cowboys. But they can't run. And he continues to pound his head against the wall. Well, there's two safeties back there. We got to establish a run. You got to be able to run against two safeties because they're basically giving you that yardage. If you can't, which they can't right now, then what do you do? And they just lost their biggest yards after catch weapon, which is Tucker Kraft. There's nobody else that's very good on this team right now at catching the ball and running with it after the catch. There just isn't. Kraft is your best one. Jaden Reed's probably number 2, and he's been out since week 2. He'll be out a couple more weeks, 3 more weeks, 4 more, whatever it is. He'll be back sometime around or after Thanksgiving. So those are your best solutions to the Yak game. So you don't have that. You can't beat the 2 high safeties because you can't run on it, because you can't catch, because you can't get yards after the catch. And I think they're running into this consistently. Like, how do we solve these problems? We just, one, don't have the personnel, or we have the personnel maybe on the offense, but they're playing so badly that it's killing other things that, we want to be able to do offensively. So it's like you can't plug a hole. You can't find a solution because of either guys are out of the lineup that would help with those solutions, or you're just having such poor performances at certain positions. Like, and I think LaFleur is just, he knows that those are issues. He just doesn't know how to fix them, and it's almost like I think at times he overthinks things, and
Yeah, Bo Melton beyond the field as much as he was is definitely in that category.
Right, and it's like, okay, let's try that. Let's try something that, like, where it's like you gotta like almost start. You gotta start at basics, and just you can't run the ball right now. So don't try to, especially the first half last night. It was every first and second down practically run the ball.
It was run, pass, run, pass, run. I mean,
pass.
All of Twitter was calling it. It was embarrassing.
Right. It was, and then when they did throw and it was incomplete, then it's 2nd and 10, and it's like, oh, let's try our 2nd and 10 run that they always do. And it's like, it's so predictable. The defense knew it was coming. They knew it was coming on 4th down to Josh Jacobs. They were yelling it out before the play. Like, stuff like that, and it's just he just doesn't have a solution right now because nothing is working. To me, it all comes back to the offensive line and how much they're underperforming right now. And now you throw in an injured Ellen Jenkins, though I don't think he's been that good this year anyway. But now you're forced to keep Jordan Morgan on the field, and he has not been good at guard. And now Sean Ryan, who you didn't want playing at right guard, now has to be your starting center. So
which isn't terrible. Like, I mean, he did okay.
He did okay last night. Let's see how it goes. But that's a guy you were just replacing at right guard, and now you're going to be forced to play him. So, like, they're just not good up front, and I think it's affecting Jordan Love. It certainly did last night. It's speeding him up. There were times he could have hung in the pocket. There were times he could have kept his eyes up and let things develop a little more. I don't think to the extent that Troy Aikman was making out on the broadcast, because when you go back and you watch some of that stuff, like, he's, well, if Jordan Love holds the ball, this receiver's coming open. Well, if he holds the ball, he's going to get hit. He's going to take a sack in some of those situations. It wasn't as easy as they were making it sound, but I think it is speeding up his process. He's not trusting his line, and LaFleur's not trusting the line. They can't throw the ball down,
and they're not designing ways to compensate for that either. That was the thing that's driving me nuts, is the lack of creativity. If your line's struggling, then get some designed rollouts. That naturally buys time. Jordan's athletic. He can do it. Get some designed rollouts. There's no reason you can't do that. That was what Rodgers really thrived with, and they went through some years with a banged-up line. And I just don't understand what's the issue with that. They just seem so afraid to do anything at all that's creative that it's just it's painful. It really is. And we got a couple of folks in the comments that are alluding to this as well. Cover Yang, thanks for joining us, man. He says, let's play a game. When I say golden, you think of sweeps or go routes. When I say Savion, you think of sweeps. That's the predictable play calls. And you're not wrong.
Very predictable.
It's super. I mean, the predictability was just unbearable. And I think the other problem is it's the personnel. Like, we're pretending we don't have, certain people that we do. I mean, again, Christian Watson is not only just a massive deep threat, but he stretches the field that takes attention away from other people. And I feel like we're not taking advantage of that at all last night. And, it's like, what are we doing, man? Like, design some things to compensate for the areas where you lack right now. And they're not doing that.
I agree. And I think Watson needs to be more involved now. He's never really been like a high volume pass catcher. Like, he's not going to go out there and catch 9 passes a game, but he needs to be more involved. It needs to be more than just a deep threat.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. He had the same amount of targets as Bo Melton. Like, that can't happen. Like,
that's so crazy, man.
And like the weird play that bounced off his helmet, which looked like, he was playing defensive back on it. He actually maybe could have made a play.
I'm in the minority, I think, where I'm like, I'm fine with it. He just made sure an interception didn't happen, which I don't definitely like that.
I don't think he was catching it, but it was weird when you look back at it. Like, well, that did hit him in the helmet. If he would have turned around, maybe you would have caught it. I don't know.
Sure.
Probably.
And he came out on Twitter and was like, "Yep, should have caught it."
He took the and good
salute,
for him,
dude. Good job. Yeah.
But then the last drive that they were gifted by the Eagles, Love had a chance to hit him deep, and he threw it too far up the field. He throws it to the sideline. Well, I don't even know if they're in field goal range the way McManus is kicking, but for a normal kicker, they would have been in field goal range. and had a shot. They would have probably had a shot at the end zone and then been able to try a field goal. But yeah, Watson needs to be used more. And it goes like this whole, we don't have a number one receiver. We're going to spread it around to whoever's open. And okay, well, that can come back to bite you in the ass when you start losing guys, because you should be, or when your offense starts sputtering, because you need to start feeding guys who can make plays for you. And they don't do that. Jacobs gets fed, but he's running into a brick wall, right? Like there's nowhere for him to go. He's getting hit before he gets to the line of scrimmage. Other than that, do they feed anybody? No. And now you're running out of guys. Kraft's hurt. He's gone for the rest of the year. Dobbs got hurt. We'll see if he's available, hopefully against the Giants. Golden didn't play, and they haven't made very good use of it. Now, I don't think he's running good routes. I think he's got a lot of development, but like
you can still use him.
You can still use him better than
send
you
him
are.
at a DB and make that DB scared.
He's not the guy you want to be throwing horizontal passes to and screens and all that. Like you need to be able to use him downfield or over the middle or get him involved. And then Savion Williams stuff is just, it's driving me nuts. They took him in the third round. If you're taking a gadget player, like if that's really how they view him in the third round, that's a waste of a third round pick. It's just a complete waste of a pick.
Very uncharacteristic of the Packers, though, wouldn't you say?
Well, then there's a disconnect between what the front office, between what the front office sees, between what the front office sees and what the coaching staff sees. Because if they talked when they drafted him, no, he's a receiver, we view him as okay. Well, why when he comes on the field, he's only used for, the pop passes or the screens or the swing passes, and then that's it. We see him for his, 5 snaps a game, and it's to be a gadget guy. He can't run a wide receiver route. Like he's got size. He can't run a slant. He can't be one of the deep guys, even if he's a decoy. Like, why are they not? They just spent a third round pick on this guy. And I know he missed most of training camp, so he was behind, but it's middle of November now. Like, and you're still just using him as a gadget player. So is he not being developed, or is this how he was always viewed as a gadget player? And if that's how he was always viewed, then you blew the. Why would you use a third round pick on a player who's just a gadget player? That's
plenty of those guys were available in the 6th round,
right. Or just you don't need it for your offense. And if they really view him as a receiver and they're not developing him, then what's the issue? Is it the player or is it the coach, the position coach, Ryan Mahaffey, who's not developing him? What is it? But for him to not get snaps, why the converted quarterback is, or Malik Heath isn't getting snaps, and he's been playing receiver forever. He wasn't converted to a cornerback in June. It doesn't make sense, and nothing you do. And before we even, this is maybe off topic, but it's kind of to the point. Like you lose Tucker Kraft, and there's no replacing Tucker Kraft. The next guy's up is a 2nd round pick, and I know he's had injuries throughout his career, but now he's being given a big opportunity, and he's just soft Musgrave. Like the play before they stuff Jacobs, 3rd and 10, he catches the ball. He had a shot to get a first down. He didn't even really get tackled. Go back and watch the play.
He just kind of fell forward.
He fell forward, and the player who hit him is Adoree Jackson, who's an under 200-pound cornerback. All he did was throw his shoulder out at him. Looked like a Packer quarterback trying to make a tackle. Just threw his shoulder out, like chicken winged it. And Musgrave was already falling forward. Yeah. There's no reason you can't run over Adoree Jackson and get the first down. So then that 4th down play doesn't even have to happen. Like I want to put that out there because it drove me nuts. And then when I saw it again today, it was like, are you really? It's just inexcusable. Like that's just a soft play by your tight end, and then the 4th down play where you could hear it as it was happening. The Eagles' defensive line, the defensive tackle, was calling out the play. Inside zone, my way. Inside zone. Mm-hmm. So and that's exactly what it was. And the defensive line fired off the ball. For whatever reason, the Packers were rushing. There was 1:33 left. Plenty of time on the play clock. You had 2 timeouts. There's no reason that play had to be rushed. They weren't set, so it was a penalty anyway on Wicks not being set or lined up in the right spot. But there was no reason to rush that. Even if you call timeout and go over and talk about it and figure out a play, like you had time where you didn't need to rush that play. That's the ball game. And then the defense to know what was coming. And then, of course, they couldn't execute it anyway because Jordan Morgan and Musgrave couldn't execute it. They both get blown off the ball. But, like, that play was over before it happened. They knew what was coming. And Josh Jacobs said the same thing after the game. He said he heard him, and he said it messed with him. Like, he knew that they knew what was coming.
Yep.
Like, it's just unbelievable. And it's a play they run often in 3rd and short or 4th and short situations. So that's
in no huddle situations as well.
You're right. So the other team knows about it. You need to change it. And you should have known that already. Like, you should be doing that in your self-scouting every week. And obviously you're not.
No, it's not happening. He admitted that. He what did he say about something like the run game? I felt like we were running it well or something like that. He used the words "felt like," and it's like, dude, what do you mean felt like? Like, come on, like these are the times where I look around and I want to be like, yeah, I'm a dumb fan, and they have way more information and great technology and he's got whatever he's got going on his iPad, like all this stuff, all these resources. It's like, what do you mean felt like? There should be no felt like. He should just know. He should have all of that information being fed to him. I mean, you're surrounded by how many different coaches? You got your coordinator, you got your position coaches, you got quality control coaches. I'm sure you got an intern who's dedicated to data or whatever. You got all this stuff. I don't want to hear felt like, and especially if you're wrong.
Well, like you self-scout yourself all week because you want to.
I don't think they do.
Off mountain. Apparently not, because the Eagles knew what was coming, and I think Ben Solak for ESPN. He had the thing up last night after the game where he went back after this game ended last night and brought up, I think, 3 or 4 different plays, similar situations, 3rd and short or 4th and short, where they ran inside zone out of the shotgun.
Identical plays.
And if he's able to do that in a matter of minutes after a game's over, the other defenses are doing that as they dive into the Packers every week. So
they're
they
scouting
know what they're doing
you.
Situational. So why don't the Packers see that and be like, you know what? We need to change up what we're running in these situations. Like,
or throw some deception in there. Show
line up
action on inside zone and pop pass over it. I mean,
something.
Why are we thinking of this?
Right, and it just shows that's something that, yes, it got blown up in the game in that situation, but they lost that during the week because the Eagles already were prepared for it. Shouldn't happen.
No, they knew, and apparently they knew the Packers better than the Packers knew themselves. And that's the part where I'm going, but how? Aren't you guys trying? Like, what is your process? Because, again, I'm a dumb fan, right? Like, I'm not sitting here claiming that I have all the answers, but like, the things that I see are undeniably just not good. Like, when the other team knows you better than you know you got all the resources in the world. You guys are making millions of bucks, all that stuff. How is this happening? How are we not thinking ahead of these things? And I have to remind myself all the time, and other people too. We may sit here and call ourselves dumb fans and think that we don't know better, but sometimes we do. There was a GM that drafted Johnny Manziel in the 1st round. And the funny thing about that was anybody who was paying attention was like, that's probably a mistake. But the people who actually knew the inside stuff, like, they should have known for sure. The guy was a drunk. Everybody apparently knew the guy was a drunk. And then still a GM is like, sure, let's check in a 1st round pick for that guy. What? How are you getting paid all that money to make such a terrible decision? That's the thing that I don't understand. When you've got infinite resources and the best of the best, supposedly, how are you making such elementary mistakes? That to me is just baffling. It's baffling. I don't understand it. And that's where I start looking around the whole offensive room. I'm mad at LaFleur because it all comes back to him. He's the head coach. He's got to fix these problems. It's his responsibility. What the problems are, though, is like, I don't know. There's this black box of offensive coaches, and some of them influence things and some of them don't. I don't know. I got one comment on Twitter saying that one of the guys, I think it was Getsy, he just breaks down film and sends in commentary about it, something like that. Or one of those guys is not very involved, and it's like, okay,
Hackett's not very involved.
It's Hackett. It was Hackett. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Hackett. But and it's just like, okay, well, fine. What commentary is he submitting on the film that he's breaking down? Because I don't think they're getting a memo. If he's doing anything, it doesn't seem like it's reaching it. Again, like we're the dumb fans, but we're seeing these mistakes play out going, this ain't right. If it were different and it's like, hey man, that didn't look good, but actually it was this. And like, there's been cases where you think one thing and turns out to be another. Fair enough. I just think that we've seen enough of what we're seeing to go, I see it. You guys keep making fundamental mistakes, elementary mistakes, like having a cornerback playing receiver and he makes an alignment mistake that negates a big play. Like, I'll be damned. You telling me a cornerback didn't know where to line up when he put him in a receiver? Son of a bitch. I would have thought, I really thought we had it. That seemed like a great idea. Said who? I mean, those are the things like, but y'all are professionals. So anyway,
they're very predictable, and
run, pass, baby.
Defenses have figured them out, and the situation they're in right now, they don't have the answers. Like, they want to be able to run the ball against these two high safeties, but they can't run block, so they're getting nothing in the running game. So then, what do? They don't have the yak guys to do the run after the catch. They can't hit the deep ball because you got two safeties back. Like, they don't really have the answers because so many things aren't working well.
One answer
predictable against
one
it.
Answer that we don't even get to see. We haven't seen it. One simple answer that we can offer here is, hey, the defense definitely expects you to run inside zone on short yardage situations when you run no huddle. Okay, so maybe fake it. Maybe fake it. Maybe. Just maybe try that. See what happens. And that's the stuff that we're not even getting that. Like when we say, well, they can't protect Jordan Love. Okay, but we're not getting any designed rollouts, which are exactly what you do when you can't protect in the pocket. You buy time. You reset the pocket somewhere else. And in that, you get time. Jordan Love's a good enough athlete to do that. We've seen him use his legs before. He's good. When we don't even get those attempts, it's like, well, what are we doing? Like, I see the problem. Now, usually when that's the problem, this is what you'll see to try to address it. And we're not getting that. It'd be one thing if we were getting those things and those attempts failed. Okay, fair enough. Like if you get these designed rollouts and he just keeps getting blown up, all right, well, stop doing that. Don't do that. At least you tried. But I'm not even seeing that. And if we're getting blown up on inside zone because it's that predictable, if you're going run, pass all game, maybe just start with a pass. A play action pass, even throw some deception in there, mate. What are we doing?
Their rate of play action passes has dropped significantly. It's bottom for what reason? I don't know, because they continue to try to run it. They continue to try to pound their head into the wall because they can't run the ball.
There's just no deception.
But they're trying without play action too. So it makes.
What we're hearing and what we're seeing is, hey, they can't do this. Okay, but when you can't do something, there needs to be attempted deception, something like that. Like, okay, so if Musgrave isn't if he's not Tucker Kraft, which obviously he's not the monster truck that's going to run you over, he's still fast as hell. You can use him to scare DBs. You don't even have to throw the ball to him. Just force people to cover him in places they don't want to. And then you'll make room for somebody else that you can throw to. And those are the things, again, we're just not getting it. We've seen those things before. They've done those things before, and we're not getting it. So I think that's the biggest frustration is you see something, you expect an attempt at a solution, and then you don't see that. And you're like, all right, well, are you not trying to solve the problem? Again, now we're back to LaFleur going to a press conference with the Bart Simpson shirt that says, say the line, Bart. And he does. He says the line every time. So it's like, all right, well, he knows there's a problem. We got to fix the problem. All right, coach, see you next week when you didn't fix the problem, but you say you got to fix the problem again. Like, it's crazy to me that he can keep doing that. And we're getting no visible signs of an attempted solution. Now, who's to blame for that? We left that in last week's episode. Who wants to point fingers at what coach, whatever. You guys have fun. Whether it's LaFleur as a play caller or Stanovich or any of the other position coaches, whatever it is, the inputs are not good. They're producing bad outputs, and something has to change. Otherwise, it's just insanity, which I don't think Ed Policy is going to put up with. I guess my overarching point before. But anyway, so let's not get too wrapped around the frustrations of that game, because that was we could probably go all night on it. But I do want to give our friend R Showers a little spot here, because it's just spot on. MLF is so soft, predictable, weak in game management. Savion behind the line or at the line, I can't effing take it. And I think the reason I wanted to call attention to this, the softness is what's leading to the predictability. Whether it's MLF or Stinovich or whoever influences the game plan and the play calling, it feels like a lack of courage. It feels like they're afraid to try different things. It's like when Joe Barry was running the defense and he was like, nope, too high shell. Not gonna mess with it. Too high shell. And it's just like, that's what they're doing now. Like, hey, we don't know what to do, so we're just gonna run the ball. Coach, that's not working. Yeah, well, we still have an opportunity to win the game. You, like, take a risk, man. And then he's like, yeah, but I went for it on 4th down. Not what I'm talking about. It's just like you almost, at some point, I kind of feel like he's almost responding to these things in kind of a childish way, where like you want him to take a risk on 1st down. So he goes for it on 4th down. You're like, no, I see what you did there, but no, that's not what I meant. And so I guess to move us along here, Tim, we have a bad opponent this week, right? They just fired their head coach. And yes, the Packers tend to play down to their bad opponents. But we also, and I don't want to leave this missed, we also just saw a championship caliber performance from the defense. Can the defense carry this team?
This week or for the rest of the season?
Just in general. Is the defense capable of carrying this team?
To an extent, but you're going to have to score more than 7 points.
Sure.
Right? Like, they did an awesome job against the Eagles, right? I mean, that 10 points, I take that against any team, any week, all the time. And you should win every time. So, yeah, I mean, I think they can carry them to an extent. But at some point, like, you got to score points. You're not going to be able to hold every team to 10 points or 13 points or 16 points. You might be able to do it against the Giants, maybe, where you can hold them down. But, like, when you play the Lions in a couple weeks, it's going to take more than 10 points. You know, you're not going to hold them to 10 or 13 points. Again, I know they did it the first time, or, you know, in that neighborhood of holding them down point-wise. But you're going to have to score. So, yeah, I think your defense can do a lot. I think they can keep you in all these games like they have, but you got to score. So, if they keep playing offense like this every week, I don't care how good the defense plays. They're not going to win very much because you do have to score points to win. And to get 7 isn't enough, and it's never going to be enough. So, yeah, defense, you know, take nothing away. They played great. I don't want to like nitpick anything that they really did because, again, they just gave up 10 points. They did their job. They certainly deserved to win that game. They deserved to win the Cleveland game. The Carolina game, I mean, they did hold them to 16, but their run defense was awful in that game. So maybe, you know, but still, you held a team to 16 points. Your offense should be able to score more than that. So, they, you know, the one real game where they didn't play well was the Dallas game. Other than that, every other game they've played well enough to win. Can they continue to do that? Yeah, I think they can. But I also worry at some point they're, you know, if they're not getting the support, will things start to break for them? Like where it's just too much of a burden for them week after week to carry things.
Shoulder the load, yeah.
Yeah, like, and at some point it's just going to crack. You know, that's the fear. But yeah, I certainly think they can do it to an extent, but your offense has to help them out.
Yeah, no, and I guess the reason I ask that, you know, the old saying goes, defense wins championships. This Packers defense is damn good, man. And, you know, the box score watchers, oh, where's Micah Parsons? Watch the game, dude. Micah Parsons is dictating what's going on in the trenches whenever he's on the field. and he may not always get to the quarterback, but he is dictating what's happening. They're watching him, they're adjusting to him, and everybody else has a chance to win a one-on-one because of it. Now, those are the ones we can look at and go, hey, let's pick it up a little bit, Rashawn Gary. But no, it just, man, I don't want to talk about how did we just waste a championship defense with a historically bad offense. Maybe not historically bad, but pretty freaking bad. And we've been begging for the better part of the last 20 years for a championship caliber defense. I mean, a lot of people like to talk about the lack of weapons that Rodgers had. The thing that kept Rodgers from winning Super Bowls was the lack of defense. The one time he had a great defense, they won a Super Bowl, and then after that, they just couldn't pull the pieces back together. And so now you got this defense. It's like, for whatever it takes, man, put points on the board, figure it out. Holy crap. It's so weird to me that in, the 2025 NFL season that you're like, how do you put points on the board? I thought we were at the point where it's like most games are going to be in the 30s and 40s, and that was where things used to be trending. And now we're like, can we score 20? Can we get 20 points? If we can get 20 points, we're going to win most of our games. Like, that's kind of the funny part where we're inverse of what it used to be. But anyway, I wonder. And I do think that, with the Giants, coming up, I think the defense can have a big say in this game. And I do hope that they will, at least from a morale perspective, be sort of the leaders of this game. Go out there and set the tone. You're going against a rookie quarterback who's not having a bad season.
If he plays.
Is he injured?
Yeah, he got a concussion, or at least he's in concussion protocol. So he's been banged around a lot this year. I don't know if he'll play or not.
We're going to come up against Jameis Winston with an interim head coach.
Russell Wilson's the number 2. So I don't know if they would go to.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I guess he was playing this last week, wasn't he? I forgot about that.
Yeah, maybe with the new head coach, he just says, "Nah, I'd rather have Jameis." I don't know. They haven't announced anything yet. So you're either going to get Russell or Jameis.
Talk about a recipe for just the worst Packers game of the season. An interim head coach with Jameis Winston at quarterback. Just 0 Fs, nothing to lose coming at you. You are oh, man, that could be funny. But, I think overall, considering what should be, the Packers defense has an opportunity, I think, to lead the morale of this game and lead the tone of this game and set it and say, look, this is how it's going to be, and force the Giants into some mistakes, maybe some turnovers that can give the offense maybe some favorable field position, stuff like that. Things that have worked against you, right? Like the things that have shot the Packers in the foot sometimes have been those mistakes that they make, give the other team favorable field position, and then boom, the momentum of the game is totally different. So I just, that's what my hope is for the rest of the season. We can sit here and our showers, I'd love to grant you this, but not yet. It says I beg for 4 minutes of talking about our next coach. I just can't do it. They're just not going to fire anybody mid-season. It's not going to happen. So we'd be wasting our time talking about that. It'd be total speculation. If anybody, Halfley would be my top option. Anyway, that's as much time I'm going to put on that. But what is the solution? What is the solution that we can hope for in the season for them to turn this thing around and be a dangerous team? They're in position to make a playoff run. We're not talking about a team that's missing the playoffs yet. 5-3-1 is not a bad place to be, and sure, we're in third position. I don't care where we are in the NFC North. The Bears haven't played anybody. They've had a weak schedule up to this point, and they're the Bears. They're going to do what the Bears do. The Lions are strong. I think the win you got against the Lions was super advantageous because you get them in week 1 with new coordinators where they're still kind of figuring some things out. Well, they figured things out. They're the Lions again. So I think you kind of stole one from them almost, but you got a divisional win there against the toughest team in the division outside of the Packers.
And they just, we'll see how the Lions play out. I mean, Dan Campbell just took away the play calling from his offensive coordinator. Like the guy that he just hired.
Well, I'll be
brought in, to replace Ben Johnson. So they lose to the Vikings, and he takes the play calling away for going into this Commanders game. and they played great offense. Commanders' defense stinks. Everybody plays good against their defense, but Dan Campbell's now going to be the play caller there. We'll see how that works.
So you mean to tell me that the head coach saw an issue and he addressed it and solved the problem?
He did, yeah.
Gun.
But I think it's, the head coach that just hired this coordinator back in January or February.
I get it, but
he's already telling you he's not good enough. So,
but
he made a mistake.
My point is like the head coach correcting a problem, not sitting there going, I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys.
We'll see how it plays out with Dan Campbell as the play caller. I have my doubts, but whatever. I think they're the best team.
First
in the division.
Sample data is not bad.
Right. We'll see when they play a real defense. But
fair enough.
We'll see how it plays. Like, I think the Lions are the best team in the division. I still think the Packers win over them was legit. I'm not questioning that. But
I'm not saying it's not legit. It's very advantageous.
They're not as good as the Lions right now, and they're going to see their Lions in a couple of weeks on Thanksgiving. I'm not looking forward to that game with the way the Packers are playing. And the Lions are going to be ready for that and prepared for revenge. So, yeah, I know 5-3-1. It's everything's still in front of them. I don't know what the answers are offensively to get them out of this. The one that I think could solve the most problems is if their offensive line would just play better. But we haven't seen it yet. And now Jenkins' injury, again, he hasn't played that well this year, so maybe losing him isn't that big of a deal. But I don't see any signs that they're going to turn it around, especially inside. I think the tackles have been okay. Zach Tom's not playing at the level that you would expect, but he's also been playing through an injury since week 2.
I think he had a pretty good game against the Eagles. I think his PFF score was pretty good.
Well, if you go by that, I guess, but.
That was all I saw. So.
Yeah, the interior guys. Banks has been terrible. Goody missed on his free agents this offseason.
Swing and miss, man.
On Banks and Hobbs, they both have been terrible and hurt a lot. But Banks has been bad. Morgan has been bad at guard. I still don't think he's a guard. I think they're playing him out of position, but they continue to put him there, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, at least this season. And now Ryan's at center. So, to me, the thing that could solve the most issues offensively is your offensive line playing better. I don't have much confidence it's going to, but right there, that's your answer for a lot of things. It's just better offensive line play.
Yeah. Well, and not to say it won't happen, because sometimes things do happen, right? You get a best 5, as they like to say, in there. They gel together, and you're good for a stretch of 7 games. But I don't think you're just going to see players magically start playing better. But we've seen this, dude. I mean, the 2023 season was a lot like this, and granted, a different team, different time. But leading into Thanksgiving, we were sitting here, going panic button. Goody's over here trading Rasul Douglas for a 3rd-round pick. We're going, oh no, we stink. They're selling. It was panic button time. And then they whooped the Lions on Thanksgiving. You're going, and this again, I've said this was after LaFleur said we need to shake things up. So it's like whatever shake things up was in 2023, bring that back. Bring that back to the table, whatever that was. Because it worked, and it was the same crew as far as the coaches go.
Yeah. At this point, that's 2023, they were 3-6. And they ended up getting to the divisional round of the playoffs and almost winning that game. So
And we were having the same, very similar frustrations. The offense was in disarray, making stupid mistakes, guys lining up wrong, running wrong routes, dropping the ball, and Jordan Love was kind of here and there. And then all of a sudden, it just all came on. And they had a magnificent run there and, whooped the Cowboys in Jerry World. That was so sweet. But, yeah, whatever that was, bring that back, man. I want that. And again, it was the same guys. Stenovich was the coordinator. LaFleur was the head coach. Love was the quarterback. Whatever that was, shake things up, go back to it, go find it, and do it again. That's what we need. That's what I want to see. So the good thing is you've seen it happen. This crew has done it before, where they've turned it around midseason, they go on a run. And typically that's how teams win the Super Bowl is you go on a run at the right time. So hopefully they have that in them. But this team also has it in them to play down to bad opponents. So are we bracing ourselves for that here, Tim? Or can the defense overcome this?
You sure it's not the Giants that are going to play down to their opponents this week?
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah,
right in
I hate
there,
to say
hit him in the kidneys.
I don't want to hear about playing down to your opponents or taking a team lightly this week, because they shouldn't take anyone lightly for the rest of the season with the way they're playing. Like, there is no overlooking and not being ready to go. Like, none of that. Like, don't want to hear
They
it.
just keep doing it though.
Maybe that's just who they are. How do we just who they are?
How do we hope for that to not be the case? I mean, are they going to do the shake things up thing?
I have no idea. I hope so. I hope you shake things up offensively, because if you keep doing what you're doing, it's not going to work. Now, I will say this is the one team where you look at it and you're like, they might be able to actually run the ball a little bit this week, because the Giant run defense is really bad. I don't know.
Well, the D line is good, but behind them, there's opportunities there.
You can run on the Giants, but so that probably means the Packers will come out and throw the ball 50 times. But no, they're
you guys wanted us to throw the ball. We gave it to you.
You can probably run on them. Now they have, like you mentioned, Brian Burns is awesome as a pass rusher. He's a problem. And Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau.
They got a good D line. There's some problems there.
They can rush the passer. So if you're going to run the ball in 2nd and 10 and get 1 yard, and you're sitting there on 3rd and 9, Jordan Love's going to be antsy. He's going to be speeding it up. So you can't be doing that. But there's holes on the Giant defense. I think our defense, the Packers defense, has a really good matchup. I get a little bit worried about, I think if they play Jameis, I think he's actually a tougher matchup, because he's one of those guys he just don't care. He's going to throw the ball all over the field, and he might throw 4 interceptions, but he might throw 4 touchdowns. Right. I think Russell Wilson plays. It's going to be, he don't do much well, but he's going to try to hit some deep passes, and that's one of the things the Packers don't give up a whole lot of explosive plays. So I don't know that Wilson can do a whole lot, but he might only have to make a play or two, because if the Packers aren't scoring, that might be all he needs. And if it's Jackson Dart, then obviously that's what the Giants want. He can run around a little bit and create some things, and that's going to be, kind of a different matchup than what they've seen a lot of this year. A quarterback that's going to use his legs as much as Dart has. So you have to prepare for that. And with your pass rush, you better stay in your pass rushing lanes, because he'll get out and take off and hurt you that way. But they don't have Malik Neighbors. He's long gone, the ACL injury. So there's, I think Wan'Dale Robinson's their best receiver. They're not real talented at receiver. Scatterbo was their top running back. He got hurt, so he's gone. Their offensive line isn't very good either. They're not that good offensively. And I know, getting Daboll out of there, but Daboll wasn't even calling the plays. It was Kafka, who's now the head coach. So, I think it's a good matchup for the defense, as long as they're not, rushing upfield and letting, if Dart even plays, letting him get out. Like, if they're disciplined defensively, I think they're going to play really well against the Giants offense. And it's going to come down to how much the Packers offense can do. Can they get anything going offensively to generate enough points?
Yeah. And that's where, again, I kind of look back to the defense. If the defense can go out and kind of dictate terms, turn the ball over, give the offensive short field, then I think you'll see the offense respond, because that's an easier assignment. You've got your opponent on their heels. I think if the Giants get a chance to come out and throw some punches, say Dart plays and they can come out and score early and get the Packers on their heels, now you're in. Not that I worry about the defense at that point. I think they can keep you in the game, but I just wonder about the offense's ability to respond. We haven't seen a lot of that, and that's what worries me. Is I don't know if they have the ability to respond. So if the Giants do go up, then how long can the defense hold? So I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it because there is potential for the Giants to kind of do what teams have historically done against the Packers and sort of overachieve and rally around their circumstances and all that. But at the same time, like if the defense shows up, man, and they decide that they're going to dictate terms, like, yeah, it seems like they could make it a real long day for that offense, especially if Russell Wilson's playing. Russell Wilson's not playing very good right now. And
No.
I think the defense could definitely force him into some mistakes. And I would love to see Micah Parsons chase him down because he, I don't think, is the same athlete that Jalen Hurts is. I think Parsons probably missed out on about 2 sacks last night because of Hurts' athletic ability. But yeah, if the defense is able to come out and dictate terms, man, I like the Packers' chances. It may even look like they're playing down, especially on offense, but I don't care. I like their chances of being able to come in and just get the win that they're supposed to get. Go. Maybe it's not pretty even. Maybe the defense holds them to like 3 points and you get 17, something like that. But still, stay in control of the game, stay ahead of the game, and just don't get beat in stupid ways. Like it seems like that has potential to happen in games like this where the Packers are a little frustrated, so they might come out swinging in a way that they shouldn't, and then the Giants can kind of take advantage of that. Kind of like you're saying, they're a terrible rushing offense. So let's go out there and just throw the ball like hell and hope for the best. And you never try to run the ball. And it's like, okay, well, that's not what we meant either. we would like some moderation and some thought in these things. But yeah, I do think that there's hope for this game. I don't think that it's just I kind of tongue in cheek called it an inevitable play down game, but I don't know that it's necessarily inevitable. I think the defense definitely matches up very well against the Giants offense, and the Packers offense has some opportunities behind that D line. If they can get those guys to rush up field and throw some stuff behind them over the middle, you can really, I think, take advantage of those linebackers in similar ways that they did against the Steelers. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll go ahead and say it's not inevitable, right? I think the Packers can maybe take a step forward in this game. As far away as it seems, that win against the Steelers wasn't long ago, and it was a very satisfying win. Felt like their most complete game of the season. If they could just pull that back out, that would be great. They might have it in them. They might. The Giants are not a very good team. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But the schedule is not getting any easier, folks. We got a whole lot of NFC North games coming up. Some, the Denver Broncos coming up in there. There's a lot coming. And if they don't get this stuff figured out on offense and figure out how to score like 20 points, it could just be a very frustrating stretch of football for Packer fans. I'm not going to say we're going to lose out, miss the playoffs and all that. Because every game, whether you win it or not, is going to be very frustrating. So just brace yourself for that, I think, is really the overall tone. I don't know, Tim, what's your prediction for this game?
I don't feel good about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know how you can feel good about it coming off of Monday night and how the offense looked Monday night. So I don't feel good about it. I think it's one of those weird matchups where the team's going to get a little bit of a bump from a new head coach being in there, and there's uncertainty at quarterback. I don't think the Packers are going to score very many points, so it's going to be a close, low-scoring game where like wacky things can happen to just swing it. Like it might not, the Giants might not play very well, but they just make 1 or 2 big plays. Something stupid happens and costs you the game, stuff like that. Block kicks or special teams plays, stuff like that. Or your kicker, your injured kicker going out there and missing more kicks, even though you have a perfectly healthy franchise record holding kicker just sitting around doing nothing. So, yeah, I don't feel great about it. I think if the Packers win, it's going to be low scoring and in the teens, because I don't even think they're going to get the 20 points. My expectations are very low for this offense, even against the bad Giants defense. So, yeah.
Well, they're on the road. They don't play very well on the road either. So, I mean, I can't say you're wrong for feeling that way. They haven't given you much reason not to feel that way.
Yeah, I don't think this is like a get right game. I don't think they come out and they look like a brand new offense and they figured out everything or figured out a lot of things. Like I don't expect
There's no reason
any
to
of
feel
that.
that way.
So yeah, I don't feel great about the game.
What do you think will happen though? I mean, do you think they, is the defense able to hold up their end of the deal? What are we looking at here?
I
Do they
think
find a way to score some points and actually win the game?
I hope the defense can score some points. That might be
Yeah,
what
maybe we
wins them
get a
the
pick
game.
six.
Maybe. I think the defense will be fine. I just worry about which quarterback's playing and like what because they're different quarterbacks, all three of them really, as far as preparation goes. But maybe they're no early in the week enough to be prepared. So that's the only thing that's like the unknown. I don't think the Giants are going to run the ball on them. Their weapons don't scare me at all, and I don't think they should scare the Packers. Like I think the defense will hold up their end of the bargain. I don't really know what to expect offensively. Like I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe I think they could have some better success running the ball this week, but I don't think it's going to be like this huge Josh Jacobs breakout game where he runs for 150 on him or something like that. I think it's going to just be the continued frustration, not being able to execute offensively over and over again. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to play out. It's going to be really ugly like that, where the defense is doing enough, but your offense is just dragging you down, making it a four-quarter fight to the end of the game. Where
And then
you
the
should
special teams is going to come and see you on the ground, needing a hand up, and they're just going to punch you right in the gut.
It'll be one of those games where like they should a competent offense would win this game going away easily, but they're going to be a lot less than competent, and it's going to make it a four-quarter fight.
All right, give me a score.
Okay, well, if the Packers win, I mean, I don't know, 13-10. I guess if I'm being optimistic, what, like 17-13, something like that. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Hey, I don't think you're wrong. I do sincerely appreciate our friend Matthew Tan with his optimism swinging in here. Packers 32, Giants 20. Now, first of all, I don't think the Giants should score 20 points, Matthew. I think the defense is not going to let that happen. But if the Packers can score 30-plus points in this game, man, we're going to have fun next week on this podcast. We're going to be dancing to some music or something. I don't know. We're gonna see Tim smile, but I don't know. I don't see the path to 32, my friend. I'll say that. I hope you're right. I do hope you're right. And our shower says guard the crab at the tailgate. Yeah, man. Protect your crabs if you're out there at the tailgate. Jameis is around. He's looking for a pregame snack. Don't let him get them. It's stealing those things. I think I'm gonna go with what I kind of loosely said earlier. I'm gonna go with 17-3. I think this defense is really. I think that I don't think the way that they played this week against the Eagles is something that is going to be an inconsistent thing, right? Like I think they're really starting to figure some things out. They're starting to hit a rhythm. The way they were playing against the Eagles last night wasn't just good. I mean, the players were making phenomenal plays, and I mean the splash plays. Yes, the Cooper peanut punch and all that, but just the way they were tackling, the way they were rallying to the ball. I mean, holding Saquon to 60 is pretty damn good, man. I think that momentum carries. I don't see how the Giants score on them. Yeah, so I think they get 3 points. I'll say the Packers find a way to get 17, and 7 is that from a defensive score. So that's my prediction.
Hey, a win's a win at this point, so I would take that.
Take the dub. Take the dub.
Always.
Let's see. We got Bobby Santora says, as a Packers fan who lives in NJ, please, for the love of God, beat the Giants. Bad enough that Tommy DeVito beat us a few years back. Man, that still that's one of those things that you just every now and then I get a little hint of PTSD from it. Just like, oh, jeez, what was that? Why did that happen? Ugh, I just gotta wash it off. Yeah, we can't let that happen again. We gotta make up for that with this one here. You know,
that was a Joe Barry masterclass that game.
Well, and see, this is what I'm worried about because with the offense, we're kind of entering this Joe Barry comp period, area of ineptitude, right? Like they're definitely starting to get to Joe Barry's level of predictability and boneheadery, I think is the word that I came up with.
I'll take it.
That's family friendly, right?
Yeah.
But we had Joe Barry lining up Preston Smith on Justin Jefferson, and now we got Bo Melton on the cornerback lining up for the Packers on 4th down with Christian Watson on the sidelines. Like, yeah, let's just keep going, man. The good news of that is right around the corner is a new offensive coordinator who just can't wait to come in and kick ass and take names. So, let's all celebrate that. But yes, let's get that. We couldn't get the win for Tim being up in Philly or the Philly or PA. I don't know if you're closer to Philly or not.
Oh, I'm close to Philly. Yeah,
close to Philly.
We're in Eagles country.
Couldn't get the win for you, man. You got to eat it. Got to take the beat. I mean, I'm down here in Cowboys country, and I guess the tie was somewhat of a blessing because they can't really brag about tying. But that was a bit more of a victory for Cowboys fans than it was for Packers fans because they saw no path to victory before that game. But anyway, Bobby, I'm cheering for you, man. I don't want you to have to take on your local Giants fans there, man. That would be that'd be brutal. That would be tough. Or we got to get that happen. But yeah, so hopefully we get a win, man. Like a winning is winning at this point, right? We just saw the Bills lose to the Dolphins. So it's not like the Packers are the only ones guilty of the shenanigans that they're messing with right now. That the Bills go off and get a very impressive win against the Chiefs, and they come back and then they lose to the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are just about to fire their head coach, and hopefully that guy calls plays for us. I want a guy calling plays for us that afterwards is going to drive by the opposing team's bar and mean mug them. That's the guy that I want calling plays for him.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, McDaniel. Like, they haven't been that good of an offense for the last few years. I don't know if I want him calling plays for you.
I think that's a classic case of a guy who is a good coordinator and a bad head coach, and there are a lot of them. And I am somewhat cautious in wishing for McDaniel to get involved because he does seem like a little bit of a wild card. He does seem like he's got some offensive genius in there if you can get it out and hone it. But no, I love that attitude, man. Going off and driving past the opposing team's bar in Miami like that was pretty funny. I got a big kick out of that. But I think what my point is like, I want that kind of attitude. Like, I want the guy who's like going to be kind of in your face a little bit, calling plays, be like, oh yeah, check this out. I got this for you, and almost like kind of how Kyle Shanahan spoke about going against Pettin, Did you remember that little back and forth?
I know he wanted to beat him. Yeah, there was no love lost there. So
definitely no love lost there. There was some attitude about it. But, he spoke about going against them in practice when they were with the Browns, and then it definitely felt like there was just a little personal attitude from Shanahan playing against us when Pettin was the guy. So, yeah, I want that. I don't feel like that attitude exists in the offense right now. So just throwing that out there. But anyway, we got to get rid of the softness, the predictability. You got to get rid of all that, and everything will be fine. So, LaFleur, Stinovich, you guys are listening. Predictability, got to go. Softness, got to go. That's it. Should solve the problem. Very simple. So we expect to see results this week. Appreciate you. And thanks for listening. It's a compliment that one of our few listeners would be the head coach and the offensive coordinator. So anyway, if you guys have had some fun with us tonight, because we're having fun, spike that like button. Get on over to the Packers Talk Network YouTube channel and subscribe for us. Share the show with a friend, tell them about it. You got some friends that are Packers fans. Y'all come hang out, get active in the comment section. We have some fun, and, we solve all the problems here. And eventually they are going to hear us, and they're going, you know what, these guys, they might be right. We'll see. You know, the Mavs fans have successfully bullied Nico Harrison into getting fired, so it could work. You know, we fans have a voice in this social media day. You might be able to bully our way into getting some things done. I think we bullied Keyshawn Nixon into being a good defensive back again. Kind of, somewhat. There was flashes of brilliance and there was flashes of bad. But anyway. All right, we had some fun tonight. We went a little long, but appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We had a great time. Always love you subscribers, comments. You guys jump in. You make it a lot of fun every week. So come on back and join us next week on Monday night, 9:30. Not Tuesday. We did Tuesday because of the Monday night game, and emotions were too raw to bring to the open airwaves. We needed to sleep on it. And I don't think sleeping on it helped me, but I think it helped Tim. Tim, you seem to be level-headed.
A little bit. Yeah, I needed that 24 hours to come.
If we would have gotten Tim 24 hours ago, it'd be different. So, yes, come back next week, Monday night, 9:30 p.m. Central. Streaming live, talking pack, not getting distracted by the rest of it because there's plenty to get distracted by. We're not doing that because there's too much to talk about with the pack. There's too much going on. We got a championship defense and a limp offense, and we haven't even talked about the special teams just completely making me believe in the NFL script writers. So maybe we'll talk more about that next week. Hopefully not. Hopefully next week all the problems got solved and we don't get to fire anybody. But we'll see. So you guys come on back next week. And of course, as always, go Pack.